Hello and welcome to the DrivingMaul show. And I've noticed I've not turned on my on-air light. Or maybe I left it on and the battery's dead. Oh, well, never mind. I'll look into that later. I forgot about that. Well, hello. It's Paul here. I'll be your host today. And looks like it's going to be a solo show. I may have someone popping in later on. But he said he was going to turn up, but he's not here now. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But Steve, unfortunately, Steve will not be here this evening because it is his birthday. So happy birthday to Cornflake. I'm sure that is the reason that he's not here, and it's nothing to do with the fact that Manawa 2 got their first win of the season over Southland, 26-21 in midweek last week. But so yes, good luck to him, and he'll be back, hopefully back next week to give us his thoughts on the games and stuff from that. As we're talking about the old NPC, we'll quickly run through those results. Hawke's Bay are on a bad run as well, losing 19-63 to Taranaki. So boy oh boy, Taranaki ran wild in that one. Northland got a good win over North Harbour, 47-24 there as well, which been mentioned in the older live chat there. Canterbury predictably saw off Counties Manukau 36-28, perhaps a bit closer than we'd expect on that one. Wellington in a good battle against Bay of Plenty won that one 30-25. And then in a cracking game that went down to well after the hooter and took a late kick to win this one. Waikato lost to Tasman 25-27. 3 minutes after the buzzer had gone on that one, there for Waikato for the Tasman to get that win. Southern having a bad week, losing also to Auckland at 27-19, but I think that's pretty much what you might expect. And then Otago did what their southern neighbours could not do, beating Manawa 2 10-28. Bit of a dour game, according to Nocturnal Rights there in the live chat. The Simon tells us know that the Dallas Jackals will not be competing in Major League Rugby in 2025. So yeah, Major Rugby is still going through lots of early days still for that competition. Really, what was it, 4 or 5 years now it's been going, I guess, off the top of my head. Really some turbulent times in there. But so look, they've survived through a quick old look. Wow, no, goes back to 2018. Geez. It's amazing that it actually has 7 years now that Major League Rugby has been going. So it has been quite a while. And sometimes it's normal for US sports competitions for teams to fold. Well, maybe smaller competitions. It's not so much in the NFL or the NBA once it's actually up and kind of running. So Major League Rugby still is kind of in its still kind of a getting its sort of level, isn't it? Really, they're trying to figure out what teams it is. It's actually going to be a part of in the end. So, look, the important thing is that it keeps going. But a shame to see it losing a team and going down from 12 teams to 11 teams. I assume, unless another team steps up into that level. On that side of things. Moving on then to the international side of things, and we had the wrapping up of the Pacific Nations Cup in the fourth playoff. The USA played Samoa, and that finished 13-18, requiring a late try to seal that one for Samoa. When they were down a man when the USA were down a man with a yellow card there. Iowa missing a couple of late kicks there, not helping his not only helping his side's nerves towards the end of that game. In the big show, It was Japan versus Fiji in the final. Look, in the first half, look, it was close at half time at 10-all, with Fiji picking up a yellow card. With Japan picking up a yellow card towards the end of that half. In the second half, though, Fiji really did run away with it, scoring 31 unanswered points, taking out the 10 to 41. A late try for Japan made it 17-41. But yeah, comprehensive victory for Fiji there in the particularly in that second half in particular. So cracking game or cracking result for Fiji there with that win over Japan. Looking in the news, and not really a lot of stuff going on outside of the rugby. Really, obviously, Simon's was up to speed with what's going on over in North America. He's talked about previously about the fact there's potentially a Mexican team joining as well. So we'll see how that pans out. But on our side of on our little island here, on the edge of the world, not really that much going on, really, apart from sort of pressure starting to mount on Razor a little bit. And we talked about that the other week, or last week, when we sort of looked at the stats and how many kind of games he's lost. He lost 3 games out of 7 at that point, and so pressure was starting to mount, or is starting to mount, on Razor. Not helped by the fact that the All Blacks have been unable to score any points in the final quarter of any games during the Rugby Championship. And that was to continue this weekend, by the way, as you probably all know, having seen the game. And to me, when I saw the team naming, seeing Beauden Barrett back at fullback, it was like he really doesn't know his team, does he? Put Will Jordan there for one game, and then he's ripped out and gone back to what he was at before. It really felt like he didn't know what. It kind of a bit confused selection there, which isn't kind of what we want to see. Isn't kind of what we want to see, and definitely not what we expected from a Razor era. Let's be honest. In the end, though, Beauden Barrett had to pull out due to sickness, and so he did go back to Will Jordan at fullback for this one. So a bit of continuity there from that point of view, with Harry Plummer coming on to the bench. Look, with Ruben Love getting injured last week, wasn't it, in the playing for Wellington, and that this would have been his opportunity to debut. So one of those sliding door moments where unfortunately he got unlucky there with that injury, and so hence Harry Plummer comes in. I guess with I've gone Perifetta still injured as well. So Harry Plummer getting his opportunity. I don't think many of us would have expected that, really, even during this season, to be honest. Yes, he's had a good season. Yes, he had a good season for the Blues, but even so, I don't think anyone really saw him as being sort of All Blacks, especially from the fan side of things, or as sort of in the All Blacks, and then to not only make the squad, but also get into the match day 23. Wow, that is fantastic for him, if for no other reason than the contracts that rugby players have with New Zealand Rugby means that if you get yourself All Black capped, your salary goes up. So well done to him. That from now on he'll be getting paid more from his Super Rugby as well, even if he never ever appears for the All Blacks again. Or at least that's my understanding is how it all kind of works on that one. So let's get on to the famous All Blacks depths, but good on Harry for sticking it out. Absolutely. On that one. I mean, how old is he now? I should to bring that one bring that up. 26. So look, I mean, he's not exactly old, is he? Let's be honest. This is traditionally you wouldn't expect him to go overseas until sort of 29, 30ish. So from that point of view, to say hey, he's been sticking it out forever. He's been consistently in the in the Blues squad since 2019. They're 75 caps appearances so far over over 5 years. Yeah, that's say look, he's regularly starting. So you got to regularly in the match day squad anyway. Yeah, no, look, I think it's been in a good place when All Black number 1,221. There you go. In that one, apparently he became this weekend. So having a look at this game, and let's be honest, the All Blacks came out of the blocks really fast here. Helped by the Wallabies not being able to deal with restarts initially. Let's be honest, giving the All Blacks field position in this one. And in this game, I went and decided to take some of my own stats, as the stats have been less available now with ESPN stopping theirs. One I wanted to pick up on was entries into the 22, because that's kind of a big one. And the first three entries that the All Blacks had, they scored tries off them. So they were 21-0 up after 14 or so minutes. Look, McWright's try straight after an overthrown line out got the Wallabies back into it. And you got to say, after that sort of 14 minutes, the All Blacks, you're basically saying, the All Blacks should run away with this one. But how often happens in these kind of games where a team zooms out to a sort of early lead in that sort of first 10, 20 minutes, is that they just can't sustain it. Let's be honest. In total, in that first half, the All Blacks got into that 22 8 times, scoring 4 tries, so a 50% conversion rate. The Wallabies, they got into the All Blacks 22 4 times and scored 2 tries, 50% conversion rate. So both sides actually were converting. If we're talking about execution, some ways there on that one in that first half. Not to right saying that the Wallabies are an outdated defence system, retreating to aim for a steal at the breakdown. Trouble is, it's not working. Yeah, it was interesting listening to Tizano's podcast on what was the thing I'm looking for in the What a Lad podcast. I did an issue on that one, talking about basically how their kind of defense technique, or their idea is they definitely go for the chop tackle, and then the next person over the top to try and steal the ball and get turnovers that way. When you think of Joe Smith in Ireland, they were famous for the choke tackle, weren't they? Of two tacklers going in and holding the ball up and getting a turnover via the maul. So yeah, interesting that it's taken the same head coach is taking a different approach now to that defensive pattern. I don't know if that's down to the defensive coach he's got, or whether that's his choice on that one. That initially, you're talking about the Wallabies' outdated defence system. I think that the Wallabies just could not slow the ball down at the ruck. That early blitz was just a fast ball from the ruck, bang, 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 and the Wallabies not being able to reset, and that's why the All Blacks were finding space, and they could execute the way they have. For Will Jordan's try, a bit unsure as whether forward pod did some active blocking. To be honest, I think one of the support runners to the ball carrier in that pod definitely, to me, ran straight into one of the deliberately ran one of the players, which helped to open that gap for Will Jordan to run through. But it's something that's never given. Let's be honest, I'm pretty sure a lot of teams will try and do it. But it might be something that we'll see if we see that's much more. We might see that kind of some commentary about that over the coming kind of weeks. The All Blacks in that first half in particular were using a lot of ball out of the back, out of the pod, to me, rather than actually trucking it up. So maybe moving away from trying to get big bodies over the gain line and getting quick ball that way, and spinning it out the back. The problem was, though, that too many passes by the All Blacks just did not get a hand. About 3 or 4 of them that didn't get a hand on that one there. Lockton writes, according to second half stats, All Blacks barely got any ball. So their attack featured. Look, I think the All Blacks in that first half, if you get the ball and you score within 2 phases, your possession stats are going to be pretty low, aren't they? On that one. So there is a so maybe there is if you're going to score quickly, you're not going to have good ball stats from that point of view. Looking at overall stats for that game on possession, was that the All Blacks had more possession than the Wallabies. 54% possession compared to 46 of the Wallabies for that one. Matt Jr. asks, how long will Mackenzie take to mature into his role at 10? Has he got what it takes? Do we have any other options? Yeah, when your head coach is calling you mercurial, that's not a very good sign for a for an international 10, is it? Let's be honest. And that is what that is what I read that that I read from Razor. I'm just trying to see if I can find the actual quote that where it's it kind of was. So yeah, we'll have to see how. There we go. Damien was mercurial. He can play, he can turn it on, and we know how gifted an athlete and a player he can be. He'll continue to evolve his game. He's getting better at his craft and has got to finish a couple of opportunities, and we're aware of that. We've backed him. You've got to do that. You've got to give someone an opportunity and time to hold those reins as long as they possibly can. So it looks like Razor is aware that that he's not, he's definitely not the finished article by any stretch on that one. But Lockton writes, is there any long-term options? There are no sort of short-term ones, i.e. someone like Jacobs, Miller or Trask, none of whom, Miller might be getting more, but none of them really getting enough time at Super Rugby. Let's be honest. You want someone who is a starter at Super Rugby being your starter for international. Guys who are not starting at Super Rugby, I'm sorry, but yeah, that's a hell of a gamble to take them and say, right, yeah, they're going to be the All Blacks 10. So who do we have up in Auckland? You got Bowden Barrett, I guess, or Harry Plummer, as you've got. Obviously, DMAC is in the seat there in the Chiefs down in Wellington. I mean, Ruben Love played more at 15, didn't he? Brett Cameron, that's someone that's for there. So there are a few there that's I'm trying to think, and then you're going to go down to let's go to Canterbury. Crusaders really did not have a did not have a 15, and finally you've got down in I'm trying to think who was the Highlanders 10 this year. I've gone absolutely blank, but clearly they didn't jump out. So who they got? Cam Miller, down there. So look, it's his first season. So no, there isn't anybody. Definitely, there isn't anyone around at the moment. Let's be honest. And it's we have to see, does Cam Miller come on, or does Brett Cameron put in a big enough case forward that says yes, I should have that jersey really. But yeah, Miller is the Trask at he's got to get past DMAC, and DMAC is not about to give up that jersey anytime soon. So no, there is no one else. Your only other option is Bowden Barrett, who they've decided is 15 from that point of view. So there are definitely and that's why some players have headed overseas. Is this using the pause button and head overseas? Pro 14. I'm not quite sure about that question, Matt. If you want to reword that one, please. So it is. We'll have to see on on that. But yeah, look, DMAC is really probably the only option that there is apart from Bowden Barrett. So it's one of those two really. You could bring Perifetta once he's back from injury. But yeah, with him being injured, Ruben Love also being injured, there's not. It is slim pickings at number 10 at the moment with that one. And definitely, look, the rest of the squad isn't in a situation where you can have a Beaver come in as fifth choice and run the team, because the rest of the squad isn't up to that level currently. Let's be honest. Moving on to the second half then. And in the second half, obviously, we've got the early penalty for the All Blacks, and that was the last score for them of the game. However, they did have 6 entries into the 22 in the second half, getting 3 points. So 8 entries in the first half, getting 28 points, 6 entries in the second half, getting 3. So yeah, there is definitely a second half issue for the All Blacks. Is it the strength of the bench? Is it a mental thing? There definitely is a mental thing now. In that, particularly once you get to that last 20, there has to be. It's the topic of conversation in every interview they're going to have with the media. Razor says they've been having more meetings than Saatchi and Saatchi, which, are they overthinking it? Probably by now, in all honesty. They only actually got one entry into into the 22 in that last 20 minutes, and that was a turnover penalty on 70 minutes. So it's they did have opportunities in that second half to score with 6 entries, but they didn't come away with any of them. Obviously, Surveyor was held up. The Rattimer one was disallowed for a forward pass as well. They did. They nearly got there, but it just didn't quite didn't quite happen for them. On the flip side, how did the Wallabies do in that second half? Well, they got 8 entries into the 22, so twice as many as they did in the first half, getting 2 tries from it. So not as so in the first half, 2 from 8. Second half, first half was 2 from 4. The second half, 2 from 8. They weren't as clinical in that 22 as they were in that first half from that point of view. 3 of them were turnover penalties. They lost a line out. They had the Ikitau try disallowed for the knock on, and one pass went to grass. So turnover penalties was the main problem for them in that second half. In the first half, though, they lost a line out and they had a maul turnover. So it's definitely a different problem in the second half for them than the first half on that. Other issue for the All Blacks is yellow cards. 2 yellow cards in that second half. Looking at the competition stats overall, New Zealand have picked up now 6 yellow cards in this tournament, whereas South Africa are the worst with 7, Australia just 3, and the Pumas no yellow cards. Wow, a Lavanini team, or a team that has Lavanini with 0 yellow cards. So well done to the Pumas on that one, by the way. So yes, not trying to say the Wallabies are learning this year. All Blacks still in Foster era systems. Robertson is quite conservative. I think Razor's feeling the pressure. Let's be blunt. He's never been in this situation before. In a high-profile team, that's not going well. His time with the Baby Blacks had ups and downs. It wasn't all perfect. Cool running. But this is his first time where he's been in this much limelight, and things haven't been going well. So this really is a big test for Razor as to how he handles this. Next weekend, look, all the hoodoos are there, aren't they? It's Wellington, where the All Blacks haven't won in forever. They haven't scored any points in the second half. The Wallabies have taken them to a 3-point game. Next, all bets are off on the Wellington game. If they lose that game, they will still finish ahead of the Wallabies as far as the Rugby Championship goes, because the All Blacks, New Zealand are on 11 points and Australia are on 5 with 1 win and just 1 bonus point. The 3 bonus points with 2 wins for the All Blacks means that they're clear and safe. But let's be honest, this isn't the Six Nations. In the Six Nations, people tend to care where they finish. It's not just about winning. In the Rugby Championship, from my point of view, if you either win it or you don't. We finish second, third, or fourth. Is there that much? Do teams really care? Do the fans really care as much? Do we really remember? Whereas they do in the Six Nations. So, for me, from that point of view, I'm not sure it really matters on this. Nocturnal Rights says Pumas can either win the Rugby Championship or at least ahead of the All Blacks. Yeah, the Pumas can win the. Well, I'm not sure. Can they win the Rugby Championship? It depends on what the. I don't know what the. I've gone blank. What the tiebreaker is for the Rugby Championship, because the Springboks currently have 19 points, and the Pumas have 14, so they're 5 points behind. So they need a bonus point win against the Springboks to go top, or to at least equal them on points, and stop the Springboks from scoring a bonus point. Now it's not on points 4. Then look, currently Argentina are 163 points to 140 by South Africa. In which case, yes, if it's not on points difference, though, the South Africa have got plus 53, whereas Argentina have got plus 16. So I don't know. It doesn't actually tell you on the Rugby Championship website, clearly, what the decider is. Let me see if I can find out on Wikipedia, which is the where at least they actually kind of tend to list that kind of stuff, and tell you what the tiebreaker is. But no, it doesn't say on there either. So I don't know what the tiebreaker is. Is it points 4 or is it points difference? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So yes, the Pumas could win it, but hey, if it's points difference, they have to win by like 40 points, which let's be honest, isn't going to happen. If it's points difference, then yeah, they're in with a decent shout. They've got to, but to get a bonus point is difficult. Get that 4 tries, and then also to stop the Springboks finishing within 7. So yeah, look, so definitely it's the Springboks to lose. Let's be honest from that point of view. But let's move on to that game. Now, I've only seen highlights this one. Sorry, folks, I had a very busy weekend, so I've not had time to watch the full game. I couldn't even watch the All Blacks game live due to one of my kids kind of having a school sort of dinner thing that we had to go to. Look, this one again, South Africa blew out to a very quick lead in this one, didn't they? 14-0 after how many minutes was that? 14-0 after 9 minutes. Add in that penalty, and suddenly it's 17-0 with early on. Now, not trying to say the first half was great fun. The second half, stop-start. Look, one of the things about a rush defense is that if you can get the ball out wide, there's space. All right. And let's be honest, we do know the Pumas have got some real pace out wide. They really can do some damage. It's just a matter of, can you get the ball there? And a lot of teams have failed to do that. We've seen the All Blacks absolutely have failed quite a lot of time to do that. But if you can do, then there's space. And that, if you look at the tries that I saw on that the Pumas scored, a lot of them were out wide. There was a line out more one from memory in the second half, but no, there wasn't. It must be in the first half. Sorry, but the but they've got a couple out wide, and that's where you can hurt the Springboks, and hence the Pumas went in at half-time 26-22, getting that lead, going into half-time with the lead, even with that. I mean, they could have gone in much. They were 9 points up, weren't they? Until that Reinach very quick tap and go, which was good thinking, and that's exactly what you want from your scrum half. He's playing well at the moment, to get into the corner there, get past the first player. The next one's got a number 3. It was number 3 on his back. And if you've got somewhere between 1 and 3 on your back, you ain't going to stop a scrum half who is shifting. So the Pollard obviously missed that the conversion there. Look, both sides missed kicks at goal. It wasn't just South Africa. So with that one. So look, it wasn't like Pollard lost the game with that one. Again, with the substitutions, unsurprisingly, we had a lot of those early in the second half with this one. Pumas midfield, a good balance of skill and power. And look, clearly there are two things Pumas must have done. This is a front up. There was, but also, I say, get that ball wide. Those are the two things. But you've got to have the time to get that wide. Quite often requires the forwards to do it. But I say also with decent hands from Alborano, plus the midfielders as well. Look, a missed drop goal, a missed penalty, right at the death there for the Springboks. So this one could have gone either way, but well done to the Pumas, cracking win for them. A team that's a little bit up and down, clearly also with a very young bench. So to have seen this one out with the particularly young front row is fantastic news for them on this one. Also, from the set piece, they won all of their scrums, and the Springboks did lose one scrum in this one. Line out, both sides lost a couple as well. So decent set piece also with those young, with those ones from the decent set piece with those young players, in particular for Argentina, looking good. It's Paul Libok, decent player, but some Klitsch goal kicking not good. Yeah, no good. You've got to worry about that. Yeah, I guess that's something he's going to have to work on, or they need to find someone else who can kick at the end of the day, because he's a cracking 10, as we've seen in this one. Just needs to get that kicking percentage up a little bit more on that one. But I say, to me, Aronson really has stepped up during these sort of games. Great first try. Jesse Creel keeps on playing, and how old is he now as well? Because it feels like he has been playing forever. And I was just thinking that he's only 30. To be honest, he's got a few years left in him with this one. So yes, he's playing some of his best rugby of his career at the moment. So playing very well. A player who has, perhaps through versatility, has had a bit of a bad rep. Someone that's him and Keith Earls are two kind of players who I feel have got who kind of were probably better than their public image really gives up to. Perhaps I'm being a bit harsh on Jesse Creel with that one. I thought it'd be fun to run through some of the kind of interesting, or some of the stats. As I've said already, the Springboks, the Pumas have scored more points than anyone else. They've scored 19 tries, more tries than anyone else at the moment. Both South Africa and New Zealand on 17. New Zealand lean on clean breaks, they lean on carries, but they don't lean on meters. But they're only third on meters gained. So yeah, more carries than anyone else, more clean breaks than anyone else. But yet South Africa getting more meterage. So that just shows you, I guess, the kind of that forwards getting over that gain line and always getting that gain line percentage, which is kind of important. Again, defenders beaten most by New Zealand as well there. Tackle percentages, funny enough, South Africa lowest on 84%, but we know that's part of the plan, because that rush up is to get in people's faces, and even if you miss, you slow stuff down enough that the next person gets you. So from that point of view, no, turn right, talking about South Africa line-out wobbles. Yeah, South Africa 85.4% at the moment. Only Argentina worse with 84.8. New Zealand apparently the best at 89.3 there with that one. Unsurprisingly, New Zealand and Argentina leading the offloads with 43 and 35 respectively. South Africa and Australia, different game style. It's 19 and 17 offloads. They're much more into passers, and then have your cleaners there, so you get quick ruck ball rather than trying to use the pop ball on that one. Scrum time, South Africa, really the one surprised me here. I thought you expect them to have the one of the strongest scrum. Actually, at 78%, they've got statistically the weakest scrum in the championship. New Zealand on 90%, Australia 88%, Argentina 84%, and South Africa 78% on their scrummaging, which is a real surprise to me on that one. And I've already talked about the yellow cards. Player stats, Caleb Clark is leading the way on tries with 4 there. Yeah, maybe if you're looking for try scorer next week, you never know. Jordan also not doing bad on 3 as well. Carries, Artie Surveyor. Not trying to say the Surveyor's dropped 3 balls. Still waiting for that top level form. Well, look, 77 carries. He's the most carries of anyone. Matera's second with 61 carries. So look, he's getting through a hell of a lot of work at the moment, and that's what having Sam Cane in there and Wallace Satiti is allowing him to concentrate on that kind of work rather than the sort of tackling side of things. Jesse Creel, 5 clean breaks. He leads the way on clean breaks. So he's in cracking form at the moment. Norte of the Springboks, I'm pronouncing that badly, 29. He's the main lineup guy with Etzebeth as well next up. So yeah, so that's South African line. So you can see where they go with their lines on that one. Top point scorer, Dane McKenzie with 62. So he's getting a bit of flack at the moment, but clearly for his play style. But he's racking up the points there. So he's decent off the boot on that one. Tackles one, Tizano tops that one. He didn't play at the weekend, so yeah, with one less game than some of the other players. 74 tackles, boy oh boy. I say cracking, really interesting podcast he did with the What a Lad podcast there. Very honest, very much about this is who I am. If you like it, great. If you don't, hey, it is what it is. So very refreshing from that point of view. I think that's got us through kind of most of the stuff I was going to talk about this tonight. It's a quick one because it's a solo one, but we're back on Monday after the return games. So we've got the All Blacks versus the Wallabies at Wellington. So I'd say that one is going to be interesting. More because of the pressure on Razor than anything else. Let's be honest. The record in Wellington is bad. The All Blacks last quarter is bad. There's no getting away from that. So the interest in that one is more around the pressure on Razor and the team than it is on anything else. To say we're talking about two teams are going to finish 3rd and 4th in the championship. The Bledisloe Cup is put away, so all of that kind of stuff is Joe Schmidt. Look, it's being given time, and these kind of results where they've come back as a bounce back from that result in Argentina. I think he's got time. Who plays 12 for the All Blacks with Geordie's injury? Well, Antonio Brown. I would have thought, isn't it? On that one, I think he is first cab off, even if he is seen as more of a more of a 13 than a 12. He can definitely play there. Clearly, it removes that that kicking option that Geordie gives you. If you want the kicking option, then I guess you're going to go for David Havili. But really, please no. To me, I think it has to be Anton Brown in that one. Billy Proctor, look, he's a 13. He's not a 12. I think putting him at 12 would be, I can't see it happening. So Anton Brown, to me, it will be in that 12 jersey. The Razor, I guess, could put David Havili in there, but with having had no rugby so far in the Rugby Championship, to me, that shouldn't happen. Did they bring Chai Faihaki into the squad? Look, even if you watch only the squad, I don't think you would go ahead of the players that are already there. I think Anton Brown will be the 12 that's in there. Not to actually, don't be surprised that Havili has picked Crusaders bias. Yeah, well, hey, you never know, do you? I guess the more interesting question is, what are they going to do with the back three? Is Jordan going to keep his 15 jersey after that performance? I think it was good. He had a good performance there, or does Bowden Barrett come back from his sickness and go straight in? I think they're expecting him to be back and available. On that one, you might want to keep it as it is and put him on the bench, but or maybe they want to put, or maybe they don't actually want Severy Reece out there. Look, he got some bad flack after that Argentina game, and the question is, has he built up the confidence back up from that game in him? On that one, look, Caleb Clark is in cracking forms. He'll be nailed in to that left winger's jersey. The question is, do they put Jordan on the right wing and Bowden Barrett at fullback, or do they leave Reece there and Jordan at fullback? We'll have to wait and see on that one. I can't see any changes in the front eight. The only one might be Topu Va'ai if he was. I'm not sure how battered he was after that, because it looked like he got a shoulder thing there. So let's just see how he is. They just said some bumps and bruises on that one. So we'll see how. Let's hope he's okay for that one. Otherwise, Sam Darry would come in, and then Josh Lord on the bench, I guess, if he's fit enough. But or is Patrick back for that? We'll have to wait and see who on that one. But look, Tobavai has, I think, he's grasped that jersey, and he's a starter now. And he's owning that jersey. Doesn't matter who else comes back. But again, after Barrett, Vai, Darry, again, who else is around? It's the depth isn't really there for the All Blacks at the moment, and that's what things like the Japan test are going to have to be used for. To build some of that depth and see who Razor also thinks is in this. Will he go out for that? That expanded group for that, or are we going to see quite a lot of normal starters up against Japan? We'll have to. Let's go more of a kind of a Fiji kind of side rather than a totally separate 23 entirely. They have to wait for Holland for next year. Jeez, that's so he qualifies on residency next year. I think a lot of people are waiting for him to come through, aren't they? And let's be honest on that one. For the Wallabies, look, stick with again. Coral Brady's hands weren't great at the weekend. But you can't. I don't think you can drop him. He's a cracking player when he gets it right. I'm not sure we'll see much change from them. South Africa, we're going to see changes. Let's be honest, they always do on that side of things. And sure, they didn't have Mostert at the weekend, but I don't think anyone can blame selections for the Argentina win on that one. That's just how South Africa do go about their selections. They do have more depth than anybody else in the world at the moment on that one. It's going to be good to see the progression of particularly of that young bench for the young front row bench for the Pumas. Look, playing at home and playing in South Africa, 2 different ball games entirely, and also the fact that look, you've got that travel involved this week, so massive travel for that game for the Boks and Pumas. Now the Boks will be more used to it. They've got more squad depth. They can deal with it easier, I think. So it's going to be interesting to see, can the Pumas actually back up after that game with that travel? It's going to be a tough ask, I think, on that one for the Pumas there on that one. Not sure. So yeah, there might be some changes on the bench for the Wallabies. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there is actually on the bench, but you suggesting the Corbetti might get dropped. I'm not sure. I think we'll see. I think he's got too much credit in the bank for what he can do when he gets it right, even if he hasn't been great so far. I think they'll let him play himself into form. So again, cracking games this weekend now from a timing point of view, folks, because it's a 7 o'clock game for the All Blacks versus the Wallabies on the Saturday, so not that afternoon game, and then 4 a.m. in the morning for the Springboks versus the Pumas, because it's now in South Africa, not that lovely 9 o'clock kickoff we had for the Argentina one on that one. Expect people like Peter Sefatoy and Khaleesi back for the Springboks. Yeah, look, I expect that to be absolutely quite a few changes to the Springboks. They will change. I think the other 3 perhaps won't on that one. So I'll be honest, I will not be watching that 4 a.m. game live. I will be watching a replay of that one. So stay safe, everyone. Have a cracking week. Enjoy the rugby that's coming up. Oh, on the old, I'm not looked forward to the NPC. Let's just a quick look forward. Midweek game. The Naki will absolutely thump North Harbour on a Wednesday after they after that big win over Hawke's Bay. I can't see Harbour really troubling them. Heading into the weekend, then Friday night we've got Counties versus Wellington. Wellington should get up with that one. On to Saturday, Bay of Plenty will looking at bounce back from that loss against Northland. Hawke's Bay up against Auckland. Hawke's Bay, since they've lost a Shield, really have found it tough. But Auckland, are they finding their stride? That'll be an interesting test to see where Auckland really are on that one. Otago versus Tasman. As Nocturnal Rights says, will Tasman rest some players against Otago because they've got a midweek Shield defence against Auckland. So maybe they will do on that one, but still, Tasman should have too much for Otago. Into Sunday, Harbour versus Canterbury. Canterbury clearly strong favourites for that one. Southland up against Waikato, get visitors of Waikato. Waikato should win that one. Southland, really, that loss against Manawatu, ouch. That's all confidence in them is gone. And then the Naki against Manawatu. Boy, oh boy. The Naki have got a couple of easy games, haven't they? They're going to be racking up some serious points in that midweek game and then against Manawatu. So that's what's coming up, folks. Going to be some tri-fests in there looking at that, plus a couple of good competitions as well. So stay safe, have a cracking week, and I'll see you all back on Monday.